This is News 25 with Unette Gentry. Local news with Deanna O'Donnell. News is brought to you by J.K. Nelson Law. Call 727-9900 today for your free consultation. If you need a lawyer, you need Nelson. News 25 is also brought to you by Silver State Health, Pahrumps exclusive pediatric care clinic. Call 775-505-1214 for an appointment.
Hello and welcome to News 25. I'm Unette Gentry. It's Tuesday, April 27th. Well, there's good news today for the Pahrump Balloon Festival and Pahrump Valley Little League. The two parties were able to reach an agreement that allows both to share a space this weekend at Ian Deutsch Memorial Park here in Pahrump.
The fate of this year's Pahrump Balloon Festival was to be decided by Nye County Commissioners this morning, but that meeting was canceled late Monday after representatives from the Pahrump Valley Chamber of Commerce, who sponsors the Balloon Festival, and Pahrump Valley Little League reached an agreement to share space at Ian Deutsch Memorial Park. The two sides met Monday afternoon to hash out the details. That agreement allows Little League to use two fields for practices and games. Balloon Fest will use the remaining space at the park for its event, which runs April 29th, that's this Thursday, through May 2nd, Sunday. County Commissioners agreed to issue a special event license to the Pahrump Valley Chamber of Commerce on April 10th. That license allowed the Balloon Fest to use Ian Deutsch Memorial Park for this year's event, but that meant Pahrump Valley Little League would be booted from the park for at least one weekend, canceling games and practice sessions. Little League supporters cried foul, and County Commissioners decided to reconsider allowing the Balloon Fest to be held at Ian Deutsch Memorial Park. But thanks to yesterday's agreement, the county didn't have to step in, and both events will be able to coexist at the park this weekend. Due to COVID restrictions, attendance for the Pahrump Balloon Festival will be limited. For more information and to purchase tickets, head to visitpahrump.com.
The CDC has decided to resume the use of the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine. It was recently put on hold after 6 women who were all under the age of 50 developed rare blood clots.
One of the things that we've committed to when we were developing these vaccines is that we will make sure they are safe. And so a lot of different agencies, the CDC, the FDA, continue to look at all the things that are happening to people who have received the vaccine.
The CDC has added a safety warning for the Johnson & Johnson vaccine as a result of those cases, noting that women under the age of 50 should be aware of the rare but increased risk for blood clots. So what kind of symptoms are expected after receiving the single-dose shot? Cleveland Clinic Dr. Michelle Medina says the most common typically include a sore arm, feeling tired, or running a low-grade fever. However, if after about a week to 2 weeks later you start experiencing a sudden severe headache, chest pain, leg pain, abdominal pain, vomiting, or shortness of breath, you should seek medical care right away. Dr. Medina says she still has confidence in the vaccine and encourages others to get it.
The Johnson & Johnson vaccine remains a very effective vaccine. It prevents COVID infection in a number of people, up to about 70%, and it prevents severe disease in as much as 85% of people who have been vaccinated with Johnson & Johnson. It's also the only vaccine that can be given as a single dose.
Data shows nearly 8 million Johnson & Johnson vaccines have been distributed in the United States. The CDC says they will continue to closely monitor the vaccine and make any necessary changes as needed.
And with alarming numbers about math scores falling in the U.S. during this ongoing COVID pandemic, it's not a surprise that parents are looking for resources to help their children. One app that's booming is called PhotoMath. A quick picture with your cell phone is saving parents across the world the agony of trying to figure out their kids' math assignments. Kim Martinez reports.
One evening I was helping my son with his homework, actually checking his homework. And it was full worksheet of problems that I had to calculate, to check. And then as an engineer, I thought, well, maybe there is some other way to do it.
A clear case of necessity being the mother of invention. Engineer Demir Sobel knew he had the tools he needed to invent a better way when it comes to parents struggling to help their kids learn math at home during COVID. His big idea is called PhotoMath. Using an app on your cell phone, the student or parent can take pictures of the math problem, and the answers come right up. But Demir didn't want to stop at merely providing the correct answers.
Can we actually then also explain these math problems to kids step by step how they can be solved.
It turned out they could. And since the pandemic, photomath has been used to solve 2 billion math problems. Needless to say, usage has soared. Among those users is Denver mom and blogger Jamie Lee.
I shared it as a resource for people who were going to be doing remote learning or homeschooling with their kids. And the reception of it was phenomenal.
There's a free version of photomath that gives you the answer. Then there's the paid app with animated tutorials showing the steps it takes to solve the math problem.
Like I said, math is not my strong suit, so this has been really helpful for me to go over what I've forgotten since I was in 5th grade.
The app is used worldwide. With many students on their own during COVID and parents trying to help, the app is booming.
During lockdowns, we even saw 100% increase in usage. Especially what was interesting, we saw 3 times more downloads by parents. It's not that we have every problem in our database. We are generating solutions using our software powered by AI.
Artificial intelligence comes to the rescue through an engineer who took a stressful problem, added a brilliant idea, and subtracted loads of stress for parents and students everywhere. Kim Martinez reporting.
To find out more about photomath, you can check it out by going to your app store. There's both a free and a paid version. And News 25 will be right back with your financial news.
You're watching News 25. Today's news is brought to you in part by Dr. George Leaks, Pahrumph's optometrist since 1990, offering full spectrum eye care for children and adults. Call today, 727-8300. News is brought to you by Canyon Ridge Periodontics. Give them a call at 702-966-0302.
Welcome back. Well, the price of copper hits its highest level in 11 years. A biotech CEO is under scrutiny for dumping shares right before news that caused the company's stock price to fall. And Apple is out with a software update for iPhone users.
Here's Angela Miles with today's Business First Brief.
Topping our news, copper futures reached the highest level in 11 years. Traders view it as a sign that the economic recovery is taking hold, and copper will be in big demand for cars and home building. Reports have emerged that the CEO of Emergent Biosolutions dumped more than $11 million worth of stock just before it was disclosed that the company ruined up to 15 million doses of J&J's COVID-19 vaccines. A spokesperson for Emergent would not say there was any wrongdoing and says any wrongdoing is without merit. J&J vaccines are being distributed after a brief pause due to blood clot issues. Apple is out with a major software update for iPhones. iOS 14.5 gives iPhone owners more control over how advertisers on Facebook are tracking their habits.
Thanks, Angela. Turning back now to local news, a single vehicle rollover crash here in Pahrump ends with one man being arrested.
Jesse Vargas is under arrest and facing a charge of DUI above the legal limit. Nye County Sheriff's Office deputies say Vargas was driving a Dodge Durango with no plates when he crashed the vehicle at South Potro Avenue and East Bourbon Street. Witnesses say the driver, who deputies later determined to be Vargas, fled the scene. Paramedics located Vargas nearby and tried to help him, but they say Vargas was uncooperative, so they called deputies for assistance. The Sheriff's Office says Vargas initially provided a fake name, but deputies found evidence in the overturned vehicle that helped them identify him. Deputies say Vargas was covered in dirt and had a number of abrasions. He denied driving the vehicle and told deputies he didn't own the Durango, but Vargas's girlfriend confirmed the vehicle did belong to them. Deputies say while interacting with Vargas, he appeared unsteady, had slurred speech, and had a strong odor of alcohol. Vargas was taken into custody, transported to the Nye County Detention Center, and booked on DUI. Deputies say Vargas was uncooperative throughout the investigation and refused a blood draw. However, deputies were able to secure a search warrant to allow them to draw blood.
Thanks, Brett Francis, for that report. Well, the library at Mount Charleston Elementary School right here in Pahrump is getting a big financial boost through donations from 2 local organizations.
The donations target the preschool program, specifically the library, with a focus on getting young students to read. For the third time this year, Pahrump Rotary Club is donating gift cards to 2 lucky recipients through their Together We Read program. Jane Irwin, a teacher at Mount Charleston, received a $100 check to be used for classroom supplies, and Lux Dart, a student, received a Walmart gift card. Both were selected at random from a list of participants in the school's reading program. In addition, Sir Optimus International Pahrump Valley has donated $1,000 to Mount Charleston through their own program called Library for Littles. That money will be used to buy books for the library.
Sir Optimus International is broken down into regions, and our club is in the Sierra Nevada region. And they have an endowment grant that we applied for. Maximum is $1,000, and you can apply for it at least twice a year. And we applied for that for a project that we called Library for Littles. And our goal was to provide that $1,000 to the pre-K program so that they can buy books for their library.
A lot of people maybe outside of education don't know it, but reading is perhaps the most important thing in education. If you are a good reader, you'll do better in math, in science, social studies. It doesn't matter the subject. And if you struggle with reading, you will struggle in all those areas. So reading really is the foundational academic.
That's about us as a Rotary Club wanting to figure out a way that we can help the local school district to be able to help young readers learn how to read. Because we understand through research and data that the better young students read, the better the community that they reside in is going to be much better economically. And it's also going to help them become critical thinkers, which means that simply that you'll be able to navigate this world of ours better.
The entire $1,000 will go towards books that will pique the interest of reading in the students. And the need is always there for books for us. So because we get new children every year, typically a child is only here in our program 1 year, and then they're off to kindergarten.
Williams says Pahrump Rotary Club hopes to expand the Together We Read program to other elementary schools in the district this fall.
Well, Inspirations is taking inspiring steps to help more local seniors. Those details when News 25 returns.
You're watching News 25, brought to you by Mountain West Lawyer, Injury Attorneys, 727-9500. News 25, local news you can count on.
Welcome back to News 25. Well, Inspirations Senior Living wants to let local seniors know about the resources available to them right here in our community. So they teamed up with Nathan Adelson Hospice to hold a drive-through health fair. Inspirations Sales Director Ryan Muccio says they're excited to get the word out.
We're happy to be out here today. It's been great. We're hosting a drive-through senior fair. The seniors have been so cooped up this year. We wanted to come up with an idea to let them out of the house. It was actually a great idea that Vivian over at Nathan Adelson Hospice came up with, and so we teamed up with her. We provided the space and the location, and we're happy to be here. There's a lot of resources here in town for the senior citizens. I think they don't realize how much really is out here for them, so it's a time where they can come by and collect that information and learn about the services that are available to them. We have various offerings. We have hospice out here, home health, of course we're senior living here at Inspirations. We have the Cold War Patriots, lots of great information.
And so if people missed this event, how can they find out more about this?
Yeah, you can contact any of the organizations directly and get their info. The Night Communities Coalition is also a great resource for other senior programs, or just always give us a call here at Inspiration 751-2300.
Thanks, Ryan. And in addition to this weekend's Balloon Festival, there's another big event happening here in Pahrump. The Wild West Extravaganza starts this Friday, and this year, like the Balloon Festival, it's in a new location, the Pahrump Valley Museum. Lori McCaslin says they hope to make the museum a permanent home for the annual event.
We have been doing the Wild West Extravaganza for the last, I think maybe 4 or 5 years down at the park, and before that we were at Saddle West. This year we have moved the Wild West Extravaganza to the Pahrump Valley Museum, which is down there on Basin. And we all think it's going to make an excellent fit because with the historical buildings out there at the museum and then our own historical facades, it'll help increase the museum, and we're also going to have the melodrama there. We're going back in the tent, so it's been about 5 years since we've acted in the tent, but that's where we started out, was in a tent, which made it much more fun and rowdy, and people got to throw popcorn and everything. And the melodrama, which is called Money in the Bank, and we have done that one before, but it's been about, I think about 2013 or so was the last time we did it. And in that particular show, Dad was the villain. Dad was always the villain. And this year, I don't know whether he had a premonition or something, because he handed over the villain spot to one of our other actors. He said he was going to go out in the audience and he was going to be the heckler and the boo boy. That's the guy that holds up the boo and the hiss and the cheer and the yay sign. So he was going to do that. And then it was right after he handed off that role that he passed on. So the fella who's going to be doing that role, his name is Dave, and he's got some pretty big shoes to fill. And as usual, there will be popcorn for you to throw at your favorite villain, your hero, your whoever you want to throw popcorn at. We're hoping that we can make this our permanent home, so that instead of having to rebuild it every year, we can build onto it, because there's a lot of money and resources that go into transporting the buildings or rebuilding the facades and stuff like that. But if we can get a permanent spot that we can just take all those resources and just keep building on it, we can create something fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, things have been tough for people, so we just want to make this a really big, great extravaganza.
Yes, it will be, because this year's extravaganza will include a blacksmith demonstration, art show, horse and burro adoptions through the BLM, vendors, food, and music, and of course, the fan favorite melodrama. It's an outdoor event and it's totally free. Just keep in mind that COVID restrictions will apply, so keep your masks handy. Extravaganza hours are Friday and Saturday, 9 a.m. until 7 p.m., and Sunday it wraps up at 4 p.m. For more information, including the schedule for the melodrama, visit them on Facebook at Pahrump Wild West Extravaganza.
News 25 WeatherCam is brought to you by Lerner and Rowe Injury Attorney's Office in Pahrump. In a wreck, need a check? Call 702-877-1500.
Here's a current look at the skies outside. There was a 17% chance of rain, and it looks like the skies are promising with all of those dark, ominous clouds. We'll take a closer look at our forecast right after this break.
Dairy Council of Nevada. The splash of cream in your coffee, the dollop of sour cream on your burrito, the melted toasty cheese on your pizza. Undeniably delicious, undeniably dairy. Enjoy what's real.
All right, here's a look at your weather from the desk and the temperatures from all across the Silver State. Las Vegas topped out today at 70 degrees with a low of 59. Death Valley's high 83, then drops to 62 overnight. Amargosa's high 71, then drops 20 degrees to 51 overnight. Beatty's high 67 with a low of 46. Then Goldfield, Tonopah, Carson City, Fallon, and Fernley will have highs in the mid to upper 50s and lows in the upper 20s, low 30s. And tonight, it will be partly cloudy with a high of 69. Winds out of the north-northwest at 12 miles per hour. Humidity 21%. Sunrise was at 5:55 a.m. And later on tonight, it will be mostly clear. That moon will still be out. If you saw that pink supermoon last night, that was gorgeous. Our lows will be around 49 with winds out of the north-northeast at 11 miles per hour. Humidity remains at 21%. Sunset is at 7:28 p.m. And here's a look at our 7-day forecast. Tomorrow, Wednesday, the sun will come out again with a high of 83 and a low of about 55. It will also be sunny on Thursday, high of 90, low of 63. Then for the weekend, those temperatures shoot up a bit with a high of 95 and in the mid-90s remaining on Saturday. Lows overnight in the low to upper 60s. Sunday, that temperature drops though to 88 with a low of 60. And those temperatures keep dropping on Monday. We'll start our work week at 84 for the high with a low of 59. Tuesday, we jump back up a bit to 88 for the high, low of 63. Well, breaking news, I want to wish the most wonderful woman in the world a very happy birthday. Happy birthday, Mom. I love you. Well, that does it for this edition of News 25. Thanks for joining us. All of us here at KPVM and Ace Country Radio want to thank you, and we'll see you next newscast. Good night.